Hello, welcome to the video. I'm working on this 2001 Honda Acty today. It's quite hard to believe that this is 22 years old. It's in absolutely fabulous condition. But the years have not been kind to a few things. They've not been kind to some of the rubber boots on the suspension, and they've also not been too kind to the vinyl on the seat. So today I'm doing a little bit of upholstery. Believe it or not, I've been working on cars since I was a child, and believe it or not, I've never actually done any upholstery before. This isn't what I would describe as hardcore upholstery. It's hopefully a fairly minor job, shouldn't speak too soon. I'm going to be changing the vinyl on the seat base. I'll just bring the camera in and show you why I want to do that. Here we are then looking at the driver's seat base. You can see it's got a few little cracks there. Those on their own, wouldn't be too bothered about. I don't know whether you can spot the other one. There's also this here. So the reason for changing this, aside from the fact that the rest of the truck looks so lovely that this is kind of, it draws your eye to it, I guess, is that every time someone gets in and out, especially if you've got any pockets on jeans or buttons or anything like that, it's going to catch on that and tear it and make it worse. So I'm going to change it. You may be able to spot just out of shot the replacement one. So these are available from Honda. I'll show you that more as we go through. First thing I want to do is take the seat out. Okay, we've got 4 bolts to undo, 2 12s on the front here. So we'll start with those. Okay. A little bit tighter than I expected, so I'll upgrade to a bigger tool. Right, that's 2 of them done. Now I'm going to move the seat as far forward as it will go. I'll show you the other 2. So there's one down there, and then there is one under that little cover at the back there. So that's going to be our next target, just to get that cover off. Alright, this is one of those little clips. Don't know if I'm going to be able to do it and also give you a view of it, but we'll try. Where you press the centre in, and then pull it out like that. And then to reset it to start again, you have to push everything back, and then you can reinstall it. We'll see that later on. Okay. Is there anything else holding you in place? Can't feel anything down there. Let's get a different trim tool, I think. There we go, just wanted to release that clip from there. And that comes out like that. And then we can see, well, I don't know whether you can, but I can see the last bolt we need to do just down there. Back with the 12 on a long extension. Last one down here. I've shown you where this one is, but I'm afraid it's going to be a bit of a pig to actually get a camera in here and a light and my hand. But I'm sure you can imagine. There we go. Got it. Now, last thing to check before we happily wrench the seat out is whether there's any electronic connections underneath. And there are. Okay, so you can probably see it up here. While you could see it, I couldn't see it because I got my wrong glasses on. Unfortunately, I've reached that sort of age where that becomes a thing. Right, now I can see it. So press that tab up there. Which side? Yeah, that side's coming out. Like that. Okay. Hopefully we can now harvest ourselves a seat. Okay, one seat. Decided to do the work in the back of the Acty because it's a lovely space, just the right height. I've just put some of these foam floor tiles down to protect it a little bit. Next thing to do, here's the replacement cover. Yes, is to just confirm that we have ordered the right pattern. That doesn't look like that looks like it's going to be just fine. I was worried it might look a bit out of place because it's brand new, but that looks absolutely fine. Okay, put that to the side for the moment. Now, if I've understood it correctly, I should be able to take the seat base off the frame. I'm going to have a guess that these are 12s as well. They are. I might actually wait until we've taken the old cover off and then I can push that out properly without wrecking it. Hopefully. Time will tell. I'm videoing it, so I've got a full record anyway, but I always like to take a picture, stuff like this, just so I've got a record of how it all went. If you're anything like me, you think you're going to remember it, and then something happens, you get to putting it back together and you can't remember it. Okay, I'm going to cut these off, so I've got new ones. Unless actually, are they going to bend? They look like they could bend. I thought it'd be quicker to cut them. I wasn't planning on reusing them. I've got some new ones, but I guess just in case. How many more we got to go then? 2 here, and then I think we're going to find some more when we start removing this. So it looks like it goes front on first and then stretched over the back. I am going to cut these ones because I can't see that well where they go. Make sure we get all the bits of that because I don't want to leave that in the seat for someone to sit on. And then off it comes, like that. Now it is extremely clear where those two went, but it wasn't before. Right, we've got all the bits out, so that's good. Clearly this foam is fairly old. I think if I was doing a full restoration of this vehicle, I would be changing the foam as well. But what I'm doing is aiming to make it look presentable and usable. Now the question is, am I going to be able to... No, I'm not going to push my luck with that seatbelt wire, and do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to leave it there, not take it out at all. Okay, so here's our new one. I think I'm going to turn it the right way round first of all. I think I'm going to get the front on first, and then I'm going to put that internal piece in place. Now I'm not expecting the new one to go on quite as easily as the old one came off, but maybe I'm being overly pessimistic in that regard. Perhaps I am. Look at that. Just looking at the old one because the seat isn't actually symmetrical like I thought it was, so no wonder that we're getting a slight difference in appearance from side to side. Just trying to gauge, because the seam drops down at the front, but it looks like, what I mean by that is it's high here, and then it's lower there. But it actually, looking at the old one as well, that looks intentional. It's in about the right place there. I do feel like I've got a little bit of bunching of the material here, so just going to give it a bit more of that. Going to fit this back over now without actually doing those central ones, just to see how it looks, and then I'll take it off and redo it after. I've still got a bit further to come. Yeah, definitely needs to come back further. That's lining up pretty well there. So I've got some of these hog ring pliers and some new rings. So these pliers are designed so that they're spring loaded and they want to close, which means they hold that ring in place while you're delving around. So, because I've got to press down in here, tried to get this low enough to go under the wire. And then come out. Same again with this one. Okay, I'll do the rest of them. So this looks like it wants to come, so these are closer to where they need to be than these, so I think the whole cover wants to come this way a little bit. There we go. So these all kind of need a second squidge. That's a technical upholsterer's term. Just because of the size of the bracket that I'm going on to, it's not allowing the pliers to get in fully. Kind of start them off and then come back slightly. Do that. That pulls it much tighter. These are piercing hog rings, but they seem to have, or some of them anyway, seem to have one side that looks sharper than the other. Which is why you saw me just swap that around like that. And I'm not happy with that. Oops. Okay, there we go. All the rings are in place. And that's how it looks from the top. I'm pretty pleased with it actually. It's not perfect. There is some slackness there, and that is a reflection of the fact that the foam is worn out. So if you're doing this job and you want it to be a bit closer to how it would have looked when it's new, then get some new foam as well. And change the foam over. But we have got rid of that issue there, which was that tear in the vinyl, and it looks a lot smarter. I'm going to pop it back on now. Okay, let's put it back in the truck. Before I do, I can't resist. And what a lovely smell of fresh vinyl we're getting as we're putting this seat back in. I don't know if you like the smell of fresh vinyl or not, but I do, so there you go. So the one next to the seat belt, understandably, has a much bigger bolt than the other three. I just put the fronts in loosely to start with. This is definitely one of those things, like most things actually I guess, where I'm not going to tighten any of them up completely until I've got them all in. Just plugging in the seatbelt sensor while we're down there. Now it's just a question of tightening them all up. So I've just reset that trim clip. So the button is popped out. I think we probably had the seat forward for this, I can't quite remember. Right, there you go, there's the finished article. I am really pleased with how it's turned out, I must say. As I said, for it to have a sort of a brand new look, we'd want some new foam underneath. I hadn't quite realised how sagged it was there. So we've got a little bit of slack on the corner, the rear corner just there, as I shall indicate with my knee. But overall, that looks great. And more importantly, the tear's gone, so it won't get caught every time people are getting in and out of the driver's seat. Well, that's pretty much it for this video. Thanks for joining me. I hope it was useful for you. Do consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I look forward to seeing you again for the next one. Bye for now.